Music magazine is meant to represent the social group that follow the rock music genre. So my magazine starts off with a front cover. The text is in fonts which are scattered about a bit. They're all quite different. So the main text, so the bodies of text are they appear to be quite scratchy. And also the name Lucy Jones is in sort of a splattered, crackly effect, and the rock circuit appears to have been done with stamps. The stamp effect in particular has been used in many other bands, has been used on lots of CD covers and other magazine covers as bands' names and things. So I thought it was quite good to use a font like this. So all of the fonts together are quite not necessarily disorganized, but they're all quite rough and quite mismatched, which is something that actually is associated with the rock music genre. A lot of the rock music genre attributes come down to when rock started with the modern rockers, because of their styles and things which have actually been kept up and stayed with us until the new rock genre as we know it today. So these stamps are in particular kind of a throwback, and it's a bit of a reference to print media, because obviously stamps are done with ink, print media kind of thing. So there's kind of a bit of a throwback to the classic rock and where rock started. So that's the fonts on my front cover. I also have the 75p in the same font as the top, but the 75p is in the stamps, but it also looks splattered. So it's kind of a combination of the two fonts. This is to further increase the rough look of the front cover, and to be kind of rough and rowdy is something that is associated with rock fans in particular. But the first thing that my target audience would see is actually the model on my page. Anger is something represented by the rock genre a lot, and she doesn't look particularly angry, but she is in a pose which shows she is in control. And this pose, because she is holding it above her head, and because all the text is arranged around her, it kind of shows how she is in control and she is powerful, especially because she has it held over her head, which is a sign of being kind of powerful and in control, which is something that maybe not in control as much, but being powerful and wanting to be in control is something that is attributed to the rock genre. Guitars are also a symbol of the rock genre because rock music is classically done by a band. There's no electronics in it. Like electronics is in electronic dance music kind of thing. So because it is typically done by a band, they will have guitarists, which are normally electric guitarists, because the electric guitar gives rock its sound rather than an acoustic guitar. And that's why I've used an electric guitar in this shot. Unfortunately, there was no cable, which would have emphasised the whole point of the electric guitar if it had a cable coming out of it, or maybe a speaker in the corner, but I wasn't able to arrange that equipment, and actually it would have taken up more space on the page, which I didn't want to do because I wanted to leave a lot of space for the text because I didn't want too much text to obscure the image. My contents page is very similar on style of fonts. So there's obviously the typing, which is a reference to the print media because obviously it is printed, but not in the way print media used to be. We also have a black and white image, which is something hugely associated with classic rock. And in this one we have an acoustic guitar, which is more a reference to the article that was going to be written about her because she is an upcoming artist, but it's also a reference to where she all started, how her rock music career has begun, and it all started with playing acoustic music until she moved on to playing rock music live and loved it. So that was the kind of story behind the image, and I thought this image portrayed it, and the black and white effect gives it a nostalgic effect and helps denote that it was a while ago that she was using the acoustic guitars rather than an electric guitar. So the fonts I've also stuck to black and white. Through research, you can see that, and my deconstructions, obviously, you can see that most of the rock colours are black, white, red, and yellow sometimes because it's the kind of warning sign yellow. But I stuck to the red base and the black and white overlay because it helps all the information stand out. But since they are typically in the colour palette from normal rock magazines, I felt like this fitted in well and helped portray the rock genre to my target audience. Obviously, the photo on the left at the bottom doesn't exactly look like a rock music photo, but that was a reference to a feature that would have been known every week that doesn't need much explanation. And the rose at the bottom on the bottom right is normally something related to romance, especially in music, but actually a lot of rock music centres around either like rebellion, or bits of it do centre around romance, as most songs do these days. But yeah, I've kept to the blocks of black as well, because it helps keep up with the kind of mismatched, like edgy vibe, which is something I was definitely going for in my magazine. My double page spread is called Overnight in Autumn, and it kind of differs from the pages before, but the image really helps portray the rock genre because the image, she is licking the guitar, which is something that a lot of rock artists seem to do in lots of their photos. So I tried to recreate that because it's kind of seen as anger or rebellion, which are really strong themes within the rock genre. Also, the guitar is in front of her, which shows the importance of the music over her image herself. Which is something lots of rock artists actually do, and it's not necessarily hiding behind their instruments, but kind of putting the music first, which is definitely something I wanted to portray in this, because in the article I kind of describe how she's struggled with music, but it's always something she's stuck with, and she's always put it before, not necessarily her livelihood, but she's put her music and her music career before getting a normal job that may potentially destroy her music career, because that's not what she wanted to do. So I felt like this image really connected with the article, as well as just being an image that connects to the rock genre. Also the colours again, so I've got the yellow, red, black and white, which are strongly linked to the rock genre. The yellow isn't necessarily the bright, almost warning sign yellow that you see in most music magazines, because it contrasted too much with the page, and it also was difficult to read on the white background. So I went for a darker yellow because it's still yellow, so it's still linked with the rock genre, but also it seemed to match and go with the guitar and the image a lot more than the bright yellow did. But obviously I've got a lot of red and black in there because they stand out really well. The red definitely stands out more than the black for the pull quotes and the drop cap and the strapline, and the black for the normal text because it's clear, easy to read, but it's also still associated with the rock genre. And I've gone for a white background mainly because it looked better with the image, but I could have used the red as a background, but I thought the red looked better on certain parts of the page in the text rather than as a full background, because I felt like that was just how I wanted to go. And lots of the magazines I looked at, their double page spreads are quite dark. However, my image is actually quite dark, especially around the bottom of her trousers and the guitar. And having a dark background would have really started to hide her actual image, and her image wouldn't have stood out as much as I would have liked it to.